The village of Adumasa was known for its vibrant festivals, rich traditions, and stark inequalities. Some families feasted daily, while others went to bed with growling stomachs. Among the poorest was Kofi's family. His father, Kojo, toiled endlessly on dry land. His mother, Abba, stretched every meal, and his siblings, Ama, Efua, and Kwame, learned to ignore their hunger. Kofi, the eldest, felt an unbearable weight on his shoulders. The mocking laughter of the wealthier villagers stung like bee stings. He often clenched his fist in frustration, promising himself he would never die poor. One day, after an especially cruel encounter where a merchant refused his mother even scraps, Kofi reached his breaking point. He stormed away from home, his heart pounding with anger and desperation. Kofi wandered for hours, the relentless sun beating down on him. As he neared the outskirts of the village, he saw an elderly man sitting under the shade of a towering baobab tree. The old man's eyes held wisdom and mystery, and his robe, though simple, seemed to shimmer under the light. Kofi hesitated, then approached. "Sir, could you spare some food?" he asked, ashamed of his own desperation. The old man studied Kofi for a long moment before handing him a small loaf of bread and a few golden coins. "What is your greatest wish, young man?" the elder asked. Kofi clenched his fists, his voice filled with longing. "I want to be rich. I want my family to be respected. I would do anything." The old man nodded, his face unreadable. "Come with me." Kofi followed the elder through winding paths until they arrived at a secluded hut where an aura of mystery filled the air. Inside, a babalawo, a revered spiritual elder, sat in deep meditation. Without looking up, the babalawo reached into a woven basket and held out 2 eggs, one golden and shimmering, the other a deep mesmerizing blue. "These are the eggs of destiny," the babalawo said. "One will grant you instant wealth. The other will grant you wisdom beyond your years. Choose carefully." Kofi barely thought. His eyes locked onto the golden egg, its glow promising everything he had ever desired. With greedy hands, he seized it. The transformation was almost instantaneous. Kofi returned to Adumasa with bags of gold. His family, once mocked, was suddenly celebrated. They moved into a grand house, wore the finest fabrics, and ate meals that once existed only in their dreams. The villagers who had ridiculed them now bowed in respect. Kofi was no longer the poor boy in tattered clothes. He was Kofi the wealthy, the young man who had defeated fate. For a while, life was perfect, until the first grey hair appeared. At first, Kofi ignored it. He was still young after all, but then more grey strands followed, his skin began to wrinkle, and his bones ached like those of an old man. The change was rapid and terrifying. Within months, Kofi, once strong and full of youth, looked decades older. His reflection in the water frightened him. The villagers, once full of admiration, now whispered behind his back. Some said he was cursed, others that he had stolen his wealth from dark spirits. Even his family looked at him with growing unease. Desperate, Kofi returned to the babalawo's hut, his now frail hands trembling. "Why am I aging so fast?" he demanded. The babalawo met his gaze, his expression calm. "Because you chose the golden egg. Its gift of wealth came at a cost. You are aging 3 times faster than normal." Kofi's heart sank into despair. "Is there a way to undo it?" he pleaded. The babalawo shook his head. "No, Kofi, the choice was yours." Kofi collapsed to his knees, realization hitting him like a tidal wave. Not all that glitters is gold. The babalawo continued. "Had you chosen the blue egg, you would have gained wisdom. With wisdom, you would have built wealth naturally, earned respect through your knowledge, and your success would have lasted a lifetime." The words burned into Kofi's soul. If only he had been patient. If only he had valued wisdom over greed. But now, his body was withering, and his fortune felt meaningless. As Kofi's condition worsened, his fear turned to isolation. He locked himself away, ashamed to be seen. The wealth he had once craved now felt like a prison. Even his family, though still loving, could not hide their worry. They had everything they ever wanted, yet they were losing their eldest son. One day, Kofi gathered his strength and stepped outside. He walked through the village, ignoring the whispers and stares. He had been blind, but now he saw clearly. Instead of wasting away in regret, Kofi chose to teach. He began telling his story to young villagers, warning them of the dangers of shortcuts to success. Over time, the people of Adumasa stopped fearing him and instead listened. They learned that true riches were found in hard work, patience, and wisdom. Kofi, though aging rapidly, found purpose. By the time he could barely walk, Kofi was no longer seen as a cursed man but as a wise elder. When he finally passed, his story lived on. Villagers told his tale by the fire, and his siblings carried his lessons to their own children. The legend of Kofi the Wealthy, who paid for his greed with his years, became a lesson for generations to come. Because in the end, not all that glitters is gold. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.